Ever since I moved to New York, I haven't seen a lot of movies from Indian cinema, which is weird, but unfortunately, with the oversaturated stuff that happens on the other side, I kind of missed out on a few things, so I've been catching up recently. And I've also realized I've never actually talked about an Indian movie on this channel, which is really weird. Like, I was born there, I grew up there, I should say something. That changes today. So yes, after a long time since I went and saw an Indian movie in theaters, I actually went and saw this one because I heard so much about this, and I've seen the other Bahubali movies, so I had some idea of what to expect from SS Rajamouli. And I went into this, and let's talk about this thing. So essentially, you're following a story of two friends in colonial India who both have their own separate missions. One of them is trying to save his sister from the British, and one of them is actually trying to catch him. Eventually, they cross paths, and well, eventually things have to fall apart, right? And then they do, and then there's stuff that happens. I don't want to go too much into the plot because I haven't seen much of the marketing for this. I saw the teaser trailer, which looked amazing, but I haven't really seen much more than that. And it's best to go into this film not knowing too much. It's best because there's so much that happens in this 3-hour movie that really needs to be experienced. Originally, this was supposed to release in January, but then thanks to the Omicron variant, it got pushed back to now. And I'm kind of glad that they decided to keep this theatrical for, the initial run, because I'm not sure if I would have liked this if it was at home for the first time. RRR is fucking awesome. I would go so far as to say this is one of my favorite theater experiences, maybe in my entire life. I had so much fun with this movie. All 3 hours and 6 minutes of it, I was locked in on that screen, and I was having such a fun time with just the spectacle of the entire thing. Really, the film's scale, like, that is why you should see this thing. Among other reasons, yes, there is a very compelling story in the middle of it, and the two lead actors are fantastic in it. But the entire scale, really, like, this thing is massive. This is a film that really feels like every single, I don't know, rupee was pulled out of it. Like, you can really tell every cent went into making this thing look as incredible as possible. And aside from maybe a couple of things here and there, like there's this one moment with a tiger, but that's a very brief moment. It's visually all very, very remarkable. And again, I go back to the actors, the two leads, they're both very, very good in this. And the storyline that develops between them, the sort of bromance that they have going on, eventually they're trying to get after one another, so there's that bit of a rivalry also happening. All of that stuff is really, really well handled. By the way, what I just said is not a spoiler. This is like in the first few minutes of the movie. And once that's established, then the rest of the thing commences. In fact, I'm going to keep details mostly restricted to that part of the film. It's best that I don't say much more because, like I said, I want you guys to experience this movie for yourself for the very first time. Something I want to give special praise to in this movie are the action sequences. They're spectacular. They're some of the best I've seen in an Indian movie ever. And I mean, so some of the best I've seen in a movie, period. Again, it's just this way they're choreographed and directed. They're absolutely amazing. There's a scene at a governor's house that takes place at one point in time. Phenomenal stuff. I mean, that's one action sequence among many that happen in it, but there's a few standouts. There's also one really great dance sequence in this. It might be one of my favorite dance sequences, again, in any Indian movie in forever. Like, it's so high energy and it's so constantly bursting with creativity. Something I really loved about this film throughout, in fact, is that it always felt like everything that was happening on screen, everyone who's in the movie, and everyone behind the camera was having such a great time making this thing. I was just absolutely on board with every stylistic and creative choice that they made. I saw it dubbed, unfortunately. This was in Hindi, and the original film is in Telugu, but this had English subtitles. I mean, it was all right, I'm looking forward to seeing it though in the original language that it was filmed in, because there were a couple of points where the dubbing kind of takes you out. It's like yeah, those lips are not synced there. But a lot of the film is multilingual. There's a lot of Hindi and English thrown in there, so it really is a film for all kinds of audiences, and I loved it. I mean, I had such a great time watching this movie, and I mean, there were people in my theater who were clapping, they were having a great time. I think the best thing about this is the reach. I'm hoping that more people see films like this, it becomes a massive success. because I know the Bahubali movies were successes, but I hope this continues to follow in those footsteps, and I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I'm looking forward to people seeing it because it's out this weekend. I think it's got a wide release pretty much everywhere. A friend of mine in Australia saw it, so I'm assuming that it's gonna get that kind of exposure, and so I'm looking forward to the thoughts that come into it. I don't really have too many issues with the movie. I would say maybe at one point in time, like we're about 10-15 minutes in the middle, it sort of drops its pacing. Like it is a very fast moving movie, but there's a few minutes in the middle where I feel like it loses momentum a little bit. Thankfully it catches back on very, very quickly, but there's a few minutes that I thought could have been a little more tightly paced. Overall though, I was very, very satisfied with RRR. I can't wait to see it again, like I said multiple times already in this video, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. I'm gonna give this movie a 9.5 out of 10. Really the most minute of flaws I had over there. That's it. Just a little bit of a tweaking, tightening up for a few minutes in the middle. But besides that, I had such a great time, and I'm hoping more people do. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and yeah, this is the first Indian cinema review on this channel. Hopefully there'll be more in the future. I've actually been catching up with a lot of movies, it's like actually figuring out what else is there. Like every industry, some great stuff, some not so great stuff, but overall, I like this new wave we've been getting. Some very interesting films have come out, and this one is creme de la creme so far. As always, if you like this, guys, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.